Good morning. It's an honor and a privilege to be here with you this morning to talk a little bit about one of Pike County's programs that we've implemented and been able to implement with BARR, with the Chance Grant, and that is BARR. Let me figure out, Brittany, I might need you here to advance my slides. Okay, perfect. Okay, so two of the schools in our district have BARR implementations. We took advantage, and you can advance to the next slide, we took advantage of the Chance Grant that was offered to do that. And so today, we want to talk very quickly about BARR. And we want to talk to you about the issues that we had that we were looking for solutions for, as well as how we incorporate it into our ACIP, what our implementation looks like, and some preliminary impactful kind of marks that we've made with BARR. So, as has already been mentioned, this was our timeline with BARR. Back in October of 21, I was sitting out here just like you all when we first learned about the opportunity to write for a Chance Grant. And I thought to myself, whew, that's a tight timeline. When we finally got the information and research products that we might want to use or write for, we got it in October. We quickly pulled our teams together. We have 5 schools, we're a small district, but I got each of my schools' administrators to write for the grant. So we were fortunate enough to have 2 of our 5 schools awarded. And I just want to say, even when timelines are tight, it's worth it. It meant over $700,000 for our school system over 3 years, so it's very much worth it. So I want to just encourage us as federal programs directors to, even when we're tired, when we don't know how it's going to happen, seek help, delegate some things, and see if we can't get more resources into our district. So we're on our last year of implementation. So I'm going to let Ms. Rouse come. Ms. Rouse is principal at Banks. It's a pre-K-8 school, and she's going to describe their implementation.
So as Dr. Carter has already mentioned, the focus of BARR, it correlates directly with our CIP. So as we're working on and coming up with our plan for our CIP, you always want to address your critical issues. And so we were looking at student attendance and also student performance. And so we wanted to, of course, increase our student academics and improve our attendance. Our bonus issue was the 2 campus merger. And so both of our campuses, we were situated on 2 campuses. And so these campuses were going to come together. And so the BARR program helped us with this merger. Our high school wanted to focus more on student performance and also the student incident management as well as student attendance. And as we were planning our ACIP, according to John Hattie, the positive relationships between teachers and students have an effect size of 0.52 on learning. So teacher and student relationships play a major role in accelerating learning for students, and we wanted to take advantage of that opportunity. And through the BARR model, the focus is staff to staff, student to student, and staff to student.
On this slide, you can just see a little bit about how each school handles incorporating BARR into their CIP. Banks chose to, and I left my glasses, so yeah. chose to incorporate it in one place, and you see there that Goshen High School put it in 3 places under communication, I believe leadership, and so it's highlighted there. But one requirement was that any and everything we have to do and spend federal dollars on, as you know, we try to just bring it all under one umbrella, and so I required that anything that they do like this be also represented in the CIP, and it fits nicely because it's all about building those relationships ahead of improving achievement. So what is BARR? Very quickly, BARR stands for Building Assets and Reducing Risk. And so what this seeks to do, as I just said, is to first solidify those relationships between students, between staff, community members, because as we know as educators, we have to make sure we've done a good job with that before we can get to the other issues we may face in our building. This was particularly important for our high school, and I don't know about you all, but in high schools, we're struggling, and we kind of have revolving doors. We have varied kind of certification people who've never done this, they're on emergencies. So learning how to teach is one thing, but then showing these people how to build relationships with their students is another matter altogether. And BARR has immensely helped us with that. So we realign our resources, and then, as I said already, engage our community as well. So BARR's model, it's not a program, it's a framework. And it's a framework that can pretty much work with any initiatives you already have in your building. And these are the 8 tenets. You focus on the whole student, provide PD for teachers, counselors, and administrators. We use BARR's curriculum, and the curriculum is nothing more than resources that help us do our relationship activities. Ms. Rouse is going to talk in a few minutes about I time and U time and the activities that we actually do in class. We break our students into cohorts. Every student is represented. We hold regular meetings on them and conduct community connect meetings and always engage the family. It's an extension of the things we have to do anyway with federal programs, is the way I see it, and it keeps our administrators engaged as well.
So on this slide, you can see some of the activities and some of the things that we've implemented through BARR. We have parent meet and greets, parent expos where we inform, we told them about the BARR model and went over that with our parents. We've had family workshops and STEM challenges. We focus heavily on behavior and attendance incentives. I think it was last year, one of our kindergartners, they won the World Series with their baseball team, and one of our kindergarten students had a visit with the governor. Well, she wanted to meet the governor, but she didn't want it to affect her attendance. And so we had to have a conversation with her and tell her it's going to be okay, it's not going to affect your attendance. But the kids, they love BARR, they love the lessons, and they're very involved. On this picture also, you'll see where each month a student is selected as the best Bobcat, and you get a yard sign, which students are so proud to put in their yards, and all that was made possible through the Chance Grant. And then you get to have lunch with either myself, the principal, or the assistant principal. And so the kids have really bought into the BARR model. At Goshen High School, they also have their implementations. They have what you call weekly I-time lessons. We have what you call weekly U-time lessons. And these lessons happen once a week for 30 minutes. And they focus on building that relationship between the student and the teacher. Positive postcards go home, and we also have growth celebrations. Part of BARR, you have your big block and small block meetings, and it's very similar It brings in MTSS as well as PST. And I want you to just keep in mind, it's not one other thing. It easily coincides with what you're already doing in your buildings. So we have these meetings on our students, and here displayed are the levels. Of course, level 0 is for thriving students. Level 1 are students that you may have to have some intervention for. Level 2, team intervention. And then level 3, you may have to involve the community. But the goal is not just for problem students or students that have academic issues, behavior problems or academic issues. The goal is to make sure that every student is on our radar.
Just a little bit on the impact that we've observed that BARR has made thus far. On the next slide, you will see from last year to this year at Banks, we've been able to reduce student incidents from 67 incidents down to 37. And at Goshen High School, from 211 incidents down to about 131. Same with chronic absenteeism, down from 22% last year to about 20% at Banks, and then from about 24 down to about 22%. So as you know, those are metrics that you have to continue to work on, and those numbers are kind of hard to move, but we're seeing with all the recognition that students receive for attendance, for achievement, for growth, and we just don't concentrate on final benchmarks. We're big on the interims and the interim celebrations. Any measure of growth a kid can make, we celebrate it, we publish it, we display it in their school buildings. A little bit more, this is from report card data from the 22 to the 23 school year. Couple of points at Banks on achievement. Goshen High School, 1 point, but it's growth. Goshen High School is a school improvement school. And so, as you know, we celebrate any and all growth in those situations. Academic growth at Banks, 100%. This is from our report card. And we're really proud of Goshen High School's growth on the report card from 84 to 91%. So those are just a couple of benchmarks. But the real changes that we see are those culture things. How it feels in the building, how teachers respond, and you'll get to hear from one of our teachers in just a couple of minutes, but the difference that it makes at the classroom level. We've talked about money and the central office level and the school's implementation, but we're super concerned about what that looks like in a classroom. And so at this time, I want to ask Ms. Henderson to come. Ms. Henderson is a first grade teacher at Banks, and I want her to just share her experience and the difference that BARR has made for her as a classroom teacher.
Good morning. Y'all have to excuse me if I'm nervous. My audience is a little bit shorter normally than y'all are. But I'm so thankful for this opportunity to speak with you all today. This program has so much to offer, and I was worried that I would leave a little bit out. So I did type it up, and I'm going to read my story to you. When you are younger, you begin to experience feelings and situations that are new, and it can sometimes be challenging to process those new feelings. Sometimes life gets hard and traumatic things happen. Well, when you're younger, that can be a lot to process, and you don't know what to do with it. Personally, I'm surprised how BARR has helped me process things as an adult that happened when I was younger. BARR taught me how to unpack feelings from when I was 3 years old. I'm 37 now. But when I was 3, my parents divorced. And when I was 13, when I lost my older sister in a car accident. Going through traumatic events at a young age can be a make or break you type situation. And thankfully, I had a strong, loving family to help me. But most of our students do not always have that. And even though I had an amazing support team, BARR taught me how to completely process and unpack those feelings from a long time ago. If BARR has made this much of an impact on my life, imagine what it is doing in our students' lives. I believe BARR helped me to be a better teacher by helping my students process different feelings at such a young age, or even find out something is bothering them through a BARR lesson that you may have never realized otherwise. Children can be good at hiding their feelings at times. BARR lessons create a safe, loving environment that brings feelings and understanding to the surface and helps you process them. And these lessons are very engaging, and like they mentioned, they're only 30 minutes long. Unless you get lost in a lesson from time to time and experience the amazing impact it can have on your students and yourself. If you come to my classroom on a Friday, my students will probably yell at you when you walk in the door and tell you that it is BARR Friday because they are so excited. BARR also allows us to track our children's social, emotional journey as they go through school, so we as a school system and teachers can better meet their needs. BARR provides lessons such as building a community with your classroom and school, setting personal goals, self-discovery, communication, strength and personal assets, grief and loss, stress management, bullying, diversity, behaviors of concern, risk-taking, personal dreams, and setting goals to reach them. These lessons allow the teachers and classmates to view each other on a personal level and view how beautiful the people are around you that you spend all day with, as well as discovering things about yourself. We share feelings, ideas, experiences, and anything else that comes to mind. And honestly, BARR lessons take you on an amazing journey, and each lesson brings us closer together. As educators, we spend so much time focusing on math and reading and social studies and science, and those are all extremely important. But sometimes we forget that our school babies are just children exploring the world around them and trying to figure everything out. With BARR, we use those engaging lessons to help children grow, learn, be a better friend, and be a better version of themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Henderson. We had hoped to bring more testimonials, but it's actually BARR's National Convention in Palm Springs, California this week. And so we had 15 people to leave yesterday, and so a lot of our BARR leaders are out in California receiving more training with BARR. And if you follow Dr.